And so, but having him open up to me in that way, I think helped us to have much more honest conversations about things in general. And I think now it's given me this perspective that I've watched my husband process this all this time. I know that he has already lived what is hopefully the toughest day of his life. And I've seen where he is now. We can do anything, you know, knowing that he has survived that, we can get through this year. We can get through whatever the next hurdle is in front of us. And he has that 20-year perspective to help guide us.
Yeah, because at this point, you both are so much stronger than maybe a couple years ago. And is it a case where each year it's a reminder of that strength?
Absolutely. I think we think of it in little moments every day. I think that's just a part of us wanting to keep his dad's story alive. It is something we hope to tell our future children about as well, that legacy. But yeah, I mean, coming up on the 20th anniversary this year, it's it's heavy. It's a heavy thing to even think about now. Um, but you just never know how that day's going to hit until it hits. We do our best to find fun ways to honor his dad. We'll usually plan a little getaway on that. I try to take off from work when I can. But you just don't know. And given the way this is such a public event, it's hard to hide from the media constant replay. So it does continue to pull up those emotions. But I think the biggest insight I gathered it from my husband here is the way he's been able to compartmentalize 9/11, the event, from his 9/11 losing his dad, right? If he were to have a mental breakdown every time 9/11 was mentioned, oh my goodness, we would have a real problem, because it's brought up all the time in casual conversation. Even with COVID-19, they call it the new 9/11. There's now this post COVID-19 world, and you know, we all pay an airline tax every time we get on a plane, and all these things change because of 9/11. And so it's being able to recognize that this is an event and we need to separate it from, you know, the passing of his father, in order to get through the day.
And to continue a little bit further, because I know that you touched on it, how you've written this book and you spoke to these people and you so courageously looking to share their story. So what is next for Peyton? Like what's on your radar now after you've done this?
It's funny. When I speak with 9/11 surviving children, the first thing I always tell them, it comes up in pretty much every interview, is, well, we need to write a second book in another 20 years, because I hear a lot of these people were very young when 9/11 happened. Many of them don't even remember the parent that they lost. And so they're just getting out into the world, and they're excited and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And I'm really excited to see, you know, these future leaders emerge. But then it's like, okay, now I want to circle back 20 years. Now, obviously, that can't be my next project, or else I'd be do nothing for 20 years. But I do have another book project in mind, talking about the pandemic pivot, actually, around how we've planned our lives and our careers in different ways around the pandemic, and how we can do more of that even when there isn't a pandemic, right? How can we get to the core of what made us change our minds in 2020 to say, I've had enough of living this way, or I was laid off from this job, so I'm going to find a completely new path that I'm actually more passionate about. How can we do more of that without the fear of a pandemic breathing down our necks?